Hi everyone, it's Melissa, and today I wanted to do something that I don't do on this channel very often. That is a book haul. I don't do book hauls very often because I don't buy books very often. Well, I do buy books occasionally used, but very, very seldomly do I buy new books. But I did buy a couple new books and 3 used books, and I am really excited about all of them. So the reason I bought a couple of new books, which I normally don't do, is that it was recently Canadian Independent Bookstore Day or something like that. So I decided to support a local bookstore, and 2 doors down from that bookstore was a used bookstore. So I also went in there, masked, social distanced, all of those things. I'm actually really fortunate to be in a part of the world that is quite safe right now, and we haven't had any COVID cases in a very, very long time. Anyway, let's actually get into these books. So the 2 new books I bought, the first one is Heartberries by Terese Mailhot, I want to say is how you pronounce their last name. But I bought this because it is a memoir and it has been described as poetic. I like lyrical, poetic, beautiful, rich writing. That's the kind of writing I like. So the word poetic really sold me on this. I also really like memoir. I've also been trying to read more by Canadian authors, and specifically Indigenous Canadian authors. So this is a memoir of the author's coming of age on the Seabird Island Indian Reservation in British Columbia. Having survived a profoundly dysfunctional upbringing, only to find herself hospitalized and facing a dual diagnosis of post-traumatic stress disorder and bipolar 2, Mailhot is given a notebook and begins to write her way out of trauma. So, sounds very difficult perhaps to read, but I am looking to read more from Indigenous Canadian authors. So that is why I grabbed that one. The other new book I bought is also by an Indigenous author, a Canadian Indigenous author, and it is the Marrow Thieves by, I want to say Cherie Dimaline, maybe Cherie Dimaline. I'm not sure how to pronounce their name. I'm not going to say a whole lot about this because this is going to be on a TBR video that I'm going to be making soon, but this is a YA dystopian where Indigenous people are being hunted for their bone marrow. So that sounds horrible, but I will talk more about that later. And then the 3 I got from the used bookstore. And I got 3 because it was buy 2, get the 3rd free. So, like, of course, I'm always going to take advantage of a discount because that's the kind of person that I am. The first one I found was The Remains of the Day by Kazuo Ishiguro. And I picked this up because I'm doing a series on my channel called I've Never Read, where I read like authors, genres, etc. that I haven't read before, and I have never read any Kazuo Ishiguro, so he's been on my radar for that series potentially. I don't know much else about him as a writer. I hear kind of mixed reviews, but this book I hear good things about. I know Lauren Wade read it on her channel sometime in the last couple months over the summer at some point. And it's about like an English butler, and it's set in post-war England. I don't know much else about it, but she raved about it and I hear good things. And I've never read Kazuo Ishiguro, and he's on my radar. So I snagged that. This next one is also a contender for something I might possibly read for my I've Never Read series, as kind of like famous memoirs. And also this was recommended to me by a very bookish friend of mine. It is Wild Swans, 3 Daughters of China by Chang. It's a little bit of a beast, but I don't care. It sounds really cool. It's like part memoir, part maybe like family epic or like family history. I will read you a snippet from the back. So it's the story of 3 generations of 20th century China. It is an engrossing record of Mao's impact on China, an unusual window on the female experience in the modern world. Young Chang describes the life of her grandmother, a warlord's concubine. Her mother struggles as a young idealistic communist, and her parents' experience as members of the communist elite and their ordeal during the Cultural Revolution. Chang was a Red Guard briefly at the age of 14, then worked as a peasant, a barefoot doctor, a steelworker, and an electrician. So it's just like generational tale / memoir. And yeah, this, I may be reading this soon as part of my I've Never Read series, but I'm not sure like what genres and authors and things I want to do for the rest of the year, but it's a contender. And the last one I snagged, I can't really give you a good synopsis of because it doesn't have a jacket, so there's no blurb on it, but it is The Invention of Hugo Cabret by Selznick. What's his first name? Brian Selznick. I snagged this because it's middle grade, and I enjoy middle grade, and also I watched the movie adaptation of this years ago. It's called Hugo. I don't remember much about the movie, but I do remember really enjoying it, so I'm interested to pick up the book. I do remember the main character, the boy in this, kind of like hiding behind like the big clock, and I think it's like a train station or something, and he befriends like an inventor or tinkerer. I believe there's something about filmmaking. I don't remember much else. It was very like whimsical, and it's, I was gonna say part graphic novel, but I don't think you would call this part graphic novel, but there are huge sections of the book that are all illustrations, so I guess maybe kind of like a graphic novel, but like no text. So there's like just huge sections where it's many pages of just illustrations, and then there'll be just like 2 or 3 or 4 pages of text, and then another huge section of illustrations. So even though it looks like a monstrous book, I think it's actually quite a short novel. So those were the books that I've bought recently. If you've read any of these books, please let me know in the comments what you thought of them, or if they're on your TBR. I'd like to know and have a chat with you in the comments below. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll talk soon. Take care. Bye.